Recording.
Sorry. Okay. We also have today a volunteer teacher, Sanket. I did a little typo there actually. Sanket Patel he's from Sagar actually. Right? Sagar works for HP, an MBA grad, and has been 15 years of experience in the corporate. Teaches the children here at eVidyaloka. He is going to have a guest session today with the children of Saubama School in Gokarna in the Kumta block today actually as well. So welcome everyone board. The next, so we will look at basically introducing what we have been talking about NDR for a while, right? I'll take 5 to 10 minutes to introduce what does remote volunteering on NDR means to us and to the ecosystem. Very, very excited to introduce Sunbird Serve, and we will have Jagdish from Xstep to kind of do a kickstart or a curtain raiser of this and address us on behalf of Xstep, its vision, and Sunbird as a whole, and the value that we have as an opportunity to create. We request few adopters and potential adopters of the platform, and we'll connect to the class, have a glimpse into an ongoing session, and I'll share the roadmap and the bootstrap team that kind of driving this, and a quick Q&A. That's all we have for the next 60 minutes. So let me get started. So we see this as an opportunity to take the model or the mission of eVidyaloka, that is to enable quality education through this remote volunteering really at a national scale. Right? If I have to take through the journey a little bit, we started off in 2011 right? As a pilot, spent 2 years demonstrating learning across 5 villages. And in the process, we were able to programmatize it as a digital classroom, and we reached to over 300 schools, delivering classes to 20,000 children. And we continue to create a deeper impact on this model. And in the process, we kind of learned that volunteers indeed who are passionate, rather people who are passionate about teaching as volunteers are able to deliver value to the children. We learned that the delivery partners at the school level, at the village level, plays a very key important role in enabling it. And we had been going through this journey, and then on the onset of COVID, we kind of pivoted, accelerated, and expanded the approach and added the content dimension, which are again created by the volunteers, but instead of live classes, they were recording the classes, and we were it kind of enabled us to extend the platform to be a broader a marketplace kind of thing, which brought the content providers, the volunteers, and then we also kind of enabled multiple modes of reaching the children, because their fundamental access to reach itself was disrupted actually. So we were kind of, apart from live teaching on the phones, we kind of took the recorded classes over a mobile app for the children to learn who had access. We had them delivered on a tab with a Bluetooth speaker, facilitated by a grassroots level person or a school teacher to those children who did not have access. We beamed it on television and able to reach a large number of people. And in this process, we kind of arrived at the an extended version of something what we call as a digital school, which enables these multiple modes. And we are able to reach to over 1 lakh children in this process. And that continues to have a potential to reach over 1 million children. Right? And then with the onset, in the same COVID, we really had the national education policy come in, and then then the policy around the digital education infrastructure that we believe as really an opportune moment for us to contribute or plug in into the ecosystem by actually adopting to that digital policy is when we started exploring the efforts. And we now are at a stage where if we are able to enable the remote volunteering as a model on what you call as the national digital education infrastructure, helps us kind of carrying on the learnings that we had, the value proposition of actually enabling volunteers to contribute in both synchronous and asynchronous forms. And we kind of bring the value of that, enabling a decentralized a delivery of what a volunteer does tracked as well, as a huge opportunity that kind of enables the access to the entire school education ecosystem in the public school system that we have. With that enabled, it really truly helps to realize eVidyaloka's mission of how in kind of bringing on board at least 1 million of these volunteers, and we join together in this nation building exercise collectively as a society. So that's really is the direction or the reason why we are here today, actually, right? Specifically on this. So for one day, I mean, what really is NDR, a brief kind of review into it, it essentially helps to kind of take the impact at the national scale by integrating this model. NDR essentially is an unifying national digital infrastructure that allows and catalyzes multiple solutions that exist, are done by various players in their own spheres and size. It also kind of aims to create very diverse set of solutions, initially context independent, then get to a context specific, right? And that can benefit really the whole the school ecosystem, from maybe to the students, some maybe to the teachers, some maybe to the administrators, etc. And so we said the volunteering is also has been actually having a good fillip in this process, and the value has been recognized, and the society is able to extend the capacity to the formal education system. Right? So the national digital education architecture encompasses the guidelines, the protocols, the mechanics in which, if it is kind of made compliant, allows to kind of participate in the broader formal education ecosystem. So how do we do that? eVidyaloka basically looking beyond the set of schools that we are running, right? We see that how we can get on board and make this available as the technology platform or the volunteering building block in itself, along with the model, on the platform called Sunbird. We'll see in a moment what Sunbird is actually, right? Is the it's essentially is the open source digital public good that has actually powers the education system in the form of Diksha on one side, right? So where over billions of learning sessions, transactions being done, and impacting already over 80 million children, and a lot more innovations are coming in place. By actually contributing as a volunteering building block, and on the first instance, we create a reference implementation for education in specific that's NDR compliant, that allows you to operate as a system that can scale to large number of or at a national or a population scale, or what we see, and make available for adoption of this block to multiple stakeholders. So it could be Diksha in itself, it could be various states, like how we are starting off with the Tamil Nadu government, who has their own tech system, and then they kind of be able to take and adopt and implement the remote volunteering for their particular use cases. And also kind of there are various NGOs who actually can consume this hosted instance for their use cases, right? So today, that's what we will go and look at it. It's kind of the building block on the open source is being christened as Sunbird Serve. And today we will see the launch of that, right? That sets the context. And I'll take a pause here and move to the next segment of introducing Sunbird Serve. I request Jagdish Babu, and I'll also introduce him briefly to share his thoughts with the rest of the team. And then we will move on to the listening from few users, and then to a class. Right? That's what we'll do. So I'll pause here, and we'll get ready for starting this. Right? I'll pause here. Any quick questions or testing? I'll see if there is anything on the chat. Otherwise, I'll request Jagdish Babu to declare this component on the open source to be being made available.
Yeah, it's my honor. Hi all, my name is Jagdish. You can call me JB. It's my honor to declare Sunbird Serve as initialized today on the day of Vijayadashmi. Venkat. Amazing. Amazing. It's a birth of a building block We have about 15 building blocks out there. The 16th one is coming alive for combined efforts of both the teams over the last 3-4 months. It's like a small step, you may say, for a huge possibility that this is likely to unleash. I'll pause here, Venkat, if you want to come in. And, then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Jagdish, so much. You have no idea how excited we are, right? To see this up, and it kind of had really given us the, what do you call, the fillip or the confidence, and to go ahead and actually make this reality really happen. And it's, we see this as a culmination point to take off to the next stage. I know it's just a foundation laying block, stage, but that's started is half done already, right? That's what we believe. Exciting moment, and Soumya and Nikita and Kathy were kind of involved into it, and we saw the serve coming up on the block. Really has given that identity, and we know what to build, right? And thanks for enabling through this journey to get here, and looking forward to do this together and champion this cause of volunteering. And we know it's beyond education; it has its potential, and probably a request today. And if I have to briefly introduce Jagdish to the rest of the team, Jagdish has been a veteran in the technology industry. He spent a significant number of years in Intel, and has been an engineer at heart, if I may say, to start with. An alumni of IISc. He spent and then moved on to the development space with the continued focus on digital. He has been part of various initiatives, including Aadhaar and UPI, and the upcoming other, the ONDC and the all other digital initiatives that's been drive and been part of the X-Step. He has been instrumental in driving adoption of Sunbird as a platform, and has been bringing various stakeholders across the country in actually towards that common goal of moving the needle, specifically in education, and then of course it's expanding to various other sectors. So thank you, Jagdish. I'll over to you, and if you may want to add a bit more and help us share your thoughts today.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Yeah. Basically, first time when I visited eVidyaloka in 2016, maybe, I'm not so sure, somebody introduced me to Venkat, and this idea of volunteering, making volunteering efficient, was very inspiring from the time I visited, first time I visited in your Jayanagar office. I remember that journey as well now, and landing into your office first time. And then I've been part of few of your Rubaru. Is that right? That's the right way to say it? Rubaru events in various hotels. Again, I remember, and I used to wonder, running CSR programs at Intel, volunteering in some kind of a supply side activity, meaning, you want to volunteer, therefore you go do something, versus connecting the supply and demand where people want desperately certain quality, certain characteristics of the volunteering that is needed, and the supply where people are looking to contribute. It's like two disconnected worlds, as compared to you choosing to go paint a already painted wall, already fixed school, and things like that, right? That's what generally used to happen in the corporates, right? It was very interesting. But the moment it has taken this long for us to come together, in some sense, and in some sense it has come on a very good platform of national digital education architecture. In some sense, Prime Minister called it a super connector. If you were to know what is another super connector, I saw one of the slides Venkat was showing UPI as a super connector. In a way, super connector, the way Prime Minister meant it was, various systems come together to deliver superior value that you cannot deliver by individual blocks of functions, right? India is one such super connector. It's like a glue that brings many things together. Very exciting to see eVidyaloka. The way I see the value of eVidyaloka is like this: 11 odd years, reaching millions of children, both with app and TV. But the larger idea is you have perfected or you have evolved the idea of remote volunteering, connecting the supply and demand. And if I were to go one step further, you all have actually identified the core functions, core verbs involved in this journey. And it takes a lot of effort, lot of fine tuning for you to be able to identify those core verbs. You may not have realized that, your overall journey is essentially making volunteering efficient by breaking down the larger story into set of verbs and making each one of the verbs very efficient. Right? Verb as in the fact that we are on a Zoom call is that, this remote presence is the verb in which this is broken into multiple verbs, and that's how Zoom is very efficient. Similarly, remote volunteering has been made very efficient by all of your effort. And in the last year, possibly, of India is launched about year plus. I am personally very excited by the possibility of these verbs available to all states, with Sunbird present in the education space in the form of Diksha in India, and going to other countries, education initiatives, those building blocks, 15 building blocks of Sunbird that I talked about. With this as an additional building block into the open source domain of Sunbird, it powers this verb's journey into other countries, into other segments in India and beyond India. That is what excites me a lot. Personally, having seen this part of interactions, I believe these verbs are sufficiently horizontal in nature, meaning that it can be applied to other segments. May not be by eVidyaloka. This whole thing may mean business as usual to eVidyaloka, but that as you continue to evolve the product, evolve its usage into other segments, and within going deeper into education in other states like Tamil Nadu, for example. What excites me is the possibility that India provides for others to evolve similar but different services for volunteering, others to contextualize the volunteering into their own domain and expand the larger function of volunteering, right? Making it more and more efficient. This means that more and more volunteers are able to contribute, more and more demand is satisfied, and in general, a lot more people are empowered to do their jobs more efficiently and effectively. That's what excites me. So if you want to ask, how is it possible? The fact that when last month or so, when Venkat and I were talking, it occurred to me that taking this existing code as it is and allowing it to be as an offer to the community, states, other countries, and so far, whoever I speak to about this seems very excited. It doesn't take much to talk to them about the goodness of what's achieved. And that speaks much to your work over the last decade. And as a part of the Sunbird community, the code now graciously being open sourced under MIT license and on part of Sunbird means that wherever Sunbird goes or wherever volunteering goes, the community comes together, and especially thanks to the community members who are present, apart from the eVidyaloka team, Suren, Alok, and Railu, Pramod Verma, all of them, this has been made possible, and I'm very excited about that. As I said, it may mean for now business as usual to you, but you will start seeing remote volunteering powered by Sunbird Serve appear in many different places. That's my hope, and that's my declaration as well, that it should power remote volunteering in many different segments in education across the country, across every state in the country and become like the leading light, a role model of sorts to power volunteering into other segments. Maybe it needs other players to come on board, contextualize the solution to their own needs. It may mean that the current solution that's getting open sourced may need to get re-architected so that it becomes even more efficient to power as a disjoint building blocks, which can actually power more solutions. All of that is already on the roadmap and already being thought of. So to summarize, in education, beyond education, in India, beyond India, there is a huge potential for the Sunbird Serve, eVidyaloka contributions to flow. And it's, in my opinion, the best tribute to all the decade of experience and value that you all have been adding into this segment. So congratulations, Venkat team, eVidyaloka, the Sunbird team who's on the call today, Alok, Suren, who's not on the call, Pramod and Railu and others. I really look forward to working with all of you. Also as a Sunbird community member, to champion volunteering. In my opinion, this is just a stepping stone, but it's not a foundation stone, because I keep telling folks, whoever I speak to, with this code, you can run statewide initiative, press of a button, integrate and run. You can actually light up a whole state. And that's a possibility we are on. It only can grow further. I really look forward to it. I also congratulate you on launching it on Dashera Day. In the last 20 odd years, I've not seen a software initiative or a large scale initiative getting launched on this day, which should have been the case. So very apt date to have chosen for this momentous occasion. Congratulations again. Happy Dashera to all of you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Jagdish. So we have a set of people if you lined up. So if you can, post your questions on the chat for now, and post we do the class connect, we will have last 10-15 minutes to discuss, have questions and responded as well. Actually, we are keeping well on time actually. So please do fire your questions on the chat, please. Team. Yeah, so moving on, while we kind of have bring this open source and make us available, we also have been people start using this. Been very glad to see today a few people who are exploring, already using it, or kind of is in the process of starting to use various their own use cases. I thought it'd be great to hear from them on their thoughts. What does it mean to this? We have with us today Venkatesh Ji, founder and CEO of Youth for Seva, a passionate person who works in the space of volunteering. We have been discussing on how, and they'll be using the first version of this platform that's being made available to his and his team. Venkatesh, if you can share a few words, few thoughts from your this thing for 5 minutes, it'll be great. Followed by I request Shri Rajendra Ji, Block Education Officer of Kumta Block in Uttara Kannada, to share. We have been running 5 schools with them, and we intend to kind of help that scale in this model as well. We'd love to hear his view for a few minutes. We were to have Archana kind of share the career guidance, but as I said, she's on a road and her signals are weak, so she's unable to. So we will skip past and then jump to the class right after that, actually.
Thanks, Venkat. Yeah, thanks, Venkat. So first of all, congratulations on such a breakthrough initiative. As Jagdish mentioned, Vijayadashmi, we always say it's the occasion for Simo Langan, that is crossing the boundaries. Seema are the boundaries that we have put around ourselves. This is the occasion to cross the boundary, and you're truly crossing that boundary and enabling remote volunteering for all the organizations. One thing I have always noticed with Venkat and eVidyaloka is they are not so much centered on the organization. They're more centered on the cause. How do we make volunteering a movement? How do we ensure that every child gets quality education? So I think the moment you keep the cause at the center, the collaborative mindset comes automatically. That's one thing I have always admired in Venkat, that always willing to collaborate and partner with the different entities so that the work grows. It's not just the organization that has to become big. And I truly want to commend this approach to development itself. At Youth for Seva, we have mastered more of in-person volunteering, because last year we engaged more than 30,000 volunteers, and all for face-to-face volunteering. And we also see the need, especially during the COVID times. A lot of these volunteers were forced to switch to online coaching, online teaching, and mostly using mobiles and Zoom calls, Google Meets. And one thing we realized is that the receptivity has gone up drastically. Even among doctors community, we have a team called Doctors for Seva. When we were talking about telemedicine 4 years ago, doctors said, no, we have to touch the patient, only then we can give the medicine. But COVID forced all the doctors also to use the technology. And today we are providing telemedicine services to 100 tribal villages in Karnataka in partnership with Vanvasi Kalyan Ashram. So the technology adoption is much more easier today. The receptivity among very common people to professionals, everybody, it's there right now. They're all eager to receive the technology. And volunteering as such is a trend that is growing rapidly in India. On one side, a large number of young professionals and even college students, they don't have much family responsibility today. They're not having that burden that they need to take care of my parents' financial needs. So a lot of financial freedom is there in the current younger generation. And many of them also have this sense of social debt, that I have borrowed so much from society. This country, the society has given me so much, and I want to give back to society. The phrases like, I want to be a change maker, I want to make a difference, I want to give back to society. These things are very common today among the younger generation, which was not the case 30 years ago, where there are a lot of insecurity about jobs. And while this volunteering mindset is growing rapidly, the government policies also is giving momentum to this. As we all are aware of, AICT, the umbrella body for all the engineering colleges, has already mandated activity points. So at Youth for Seva, we are flooded. Like every engineering college is asking, can you engage 2,000 students, 3,000 students as volunteers? But what work do we give when so many volunteers are coming? And recently we had a call from the Higher Education Ministry in Karnataka also, that as part of NEP rollout, they are going to introduce service learning to all the degree students. So in effect, more than 4 crore college students will be wanting to volunteer in the next 2 years. And that's a huge number, even if 20-25 hours each of them want to contribute. I think there is a need to give structure to this flood that is going to open up for volunteering. And technology can be a great, what I would say, something that can take us out of this flood. Otherwise, you can get drowned in this, and also it can deteriorate. I have seen already college students giving some money. There are some agents who have come up for AICT activity points. You give 150 rupees per student, they give a certificate from NGO. I think we don't want to let the good intent of the government to go in that direction of degenerating into giving money and getting certificates. At the same time, it's a challenge, and we are already working with 3-4 ministries in Karnataka right now: Labor Department, Women and Child Development, then Forest Department, Primary Education Department. And we have figured out what are the programs of these departments where volunteers can make a difference. Because only when we integrate with government systems, a volunteer at every panchayat level can get the opportunity. Otherwise, it will remain an urban phenomenon. And so these are all the many opportunities that are lying ahead of us. And this framework, I'm truly excited, because from Youth for Seva, we have set up, what I would say, smart classrooms in more than 200 schools in Karnataka, but we had never enabled remote teaching, even though it has all the raw materials, ingredients required for the remote teaching. That's when we started conversation a few months back with eVidyaloka, that we already have the hardware set up, we have the good quality TVs, webcams, everything is in place, and we just have to enable this platform. And sincerely looking forward to this platform being used by all the stakeholders, whether it is government, NGOs, even colleges. In fact, colleges who have a mandate to have the students volunteer, I think all of them can be integrated into this platform, and looking forward to see this platform grow and being used by a lot of people. Thanks, eVidyaloka and Venkat. Thank you.
Thank you so much. In fact, it was very exciting to hear the Doctor for Seva use case as well, actually. Right? So I think you are kind of so very uniquely positioned in reaching, how volunteering works, how do you translate the volunteering efforts into meaningful and beyond education. I think we're kind of very excited to see this multiple use cases that you can start off, on this block, and we'd love to see this value unrealized. The unrealized potential gets kind of tapped out. Thank you so much for also being with us here today. I know you'll have to drop off. Please feel free to whenever you want to actually.
I'll stay for a few minutes until the guests come home.
Sure. Sure. Thank you so much, actually. So if I may now, invite Sri Rajendra ji, the block education officer who has been in the forefront of kind of adopting, kind of making it enabling or having us enable the volunteers for the children of his schools in his block. If I may request Rajendra ji to share his thoughts for a few minutes.
Good morning to all of you. Happy Dasra. I feel very happy to say some words about eVidya and the process and our experiences with regarding this journey of educational process. First of all, I would, it is my pleasure to thank all the persons involved in this process and who made our blog really eVidya. Vidya in the sense education, that's why on behalf of all my colleagues, it is my pleasure to and be the part of this process also. So as far as in my block, Kumta is one of the block in North Canara, Karwar Educational District. In Kumta, in 5 schools we have seen, and especially in all schools, students and even teachers, parents, and SDMCs, school development and monitoring committees, really they are enjoying, and we can see the result now. Actually, beginning it's a problem for all of us. We can't understand and we can't know the importance of the process of eVidya. But Brinda ma'am and Nikita ma'am, many times they spoke, and messages, mails, and many times they talked to me and also Jayashri ma'am and headmasters and the teachers or stakeholders of all this process. Initially, very difficult for us to introduce in government schools, but in aided and unaided schools or unaided schools, infrastructure is there, and the support we expect very good, especially in Gokarna. Sarvabhauma Gurukulam, it's not a problem for us, but in Gokarna Tarmaki school, very difficult for us to provide the infrastructure facilities first. But our education and primary education minister even called me, and Pramod Shastri also supported, and the headmasters and even local panchayat also they supported. They provided some infrastructures what is needed in that particular school. So now in especially in Gokarna or even in Alvekodi school, actually in 5 schools, in Gokarna Tarmaki school, science subject they are teaching, really they are enjoying. What education in the sense learning means permanent change in behavior that occurs on account of experiences, what the educationists or the psychologists, it is their opinion that permanent change in behavior that occurs on account of experiences. So eVidya that helps us a lot. Even the students, they are enjoying joyful learning. eVidya who made the learning very joyful and mastery level learning. Even the teachers and the parents, when I last visited, in my last visit, I have seen this. It is their opinion. It is not my opinion. It is their opinion that their learning, mastery level learning, and also they're enjoying. First, initially, it's difficult for them, but now their result and even in their unit test also they have done, and their progress is also good. What the teachers and headmasters, administrators of the schools, they felt very happy. And even their request is to provide math subject also. English teacher is there in that school, but they request eVidya to provide math teacher also, because students, they are enjoying and they are preparing very well. So that is why my request to you also, because as far as e-education is concerned, really, definitely nothing can replace the teacher, but eVidya, with the help of Diksha and other support, and the really who made the class very lively classes, they are enjoying. That is my experience, and totally I feel very happy to be the part of eVidya. Definitely in future we will support, and definitely we will implement in all schools if possible. So this year it's just in 5 schools, but in next year, if it is possible, definitely with the help of public and even our local bodies and even the education of my department, definitely we will support, and we expect in all schools. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, Rajendra ji. You very well put it. It's always been a pleasure, and we see that we can really make some of these very good intent to be available to the children when we actually are working in a very collaborative way. We really appreciate your very forward thinking and willing to go that extra mile and enabling this modern education and access to this opportunity, supplementing the humongous efforts that the school teachers and headmasters are putting, bringing in the best and not leaving any child left behind. And more importantly, do away with this concept of urban schools and or rural children, right? Thanks to this COVID and technology platform, we are at that moment in this country that we really can bring in that equitable access. Thank you for having us in your journey of making sure those children are successful in their life. Thanks for being with us here as well today, actually.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So with us, we will jump on quickly. We had, I think, Sanket has gone into it. Maybe Nikita, you're ready to do the a quick collect as we speak into the live class.
Yeah, you might need to give me an host or permission to share my screen.
Yeah, I think I'll stop share and we'll go live with the class today. Give me a moment. I will stop sharing this and you will be the... Can you try now? I think you should be able to present now.
Not yet. It says host disabled participants screen sharing.
Should I just make co-host?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
ಈಗ ಈ ಕಡೆ ಟೀಮ್ ಅವ್ರು ನೀವು ಅದನ್ನ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು ಮತ್ತೆ.
My screen visible?
The lion
yes.
would kill other animals for his use.
Yeah, so we have today Sanket Patel, as I was saying, in volunteer from HP, actually from Sagar. He's actually having a guest session to children of 6th standard science in a school called Sarvabhauma Gurukulam. It's joyful for us to share knowledge or enable sharing of this knowledge between a passionate teacher and a school. As the eVidyaloka goes, we don't make things notional, right? This is a live class and then scheduled sessions He has been teaching few classes in the past, and we thought today being Vijayadashmi day, it's a pleasure to have the children participate in the learning briefly. And this inspires us actually to do this across the country.
ಅಲ್ಲ ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ ಹೇಳಿ ಪರವಾಗಿಲ್ಲ.
My sincere thanks. I take this.
ನೀವು ಕನ್ನಡ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ ಬರುತ್ತಲ್ವಾ?
Thank people like Sanket
ಬೇರೆ ಊರಿಂದ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ, ಬೇರೆ
for taking their time out for the children.
ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲೇ ಹೇಳಿ.
It goes without saying, children makes the thing so very easy, seamless, and with enablers like Rajendra ji and Venkatesh ji. I think we are clearly in a very unique position to make this happen at scale, with our value of the technology, and then unleash the power of the society as volunteers. We are super excited, and
ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಎಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿದಿರಲ್ವಾ ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ?
I really would kind of
ಕಾರ್ಟೂನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ ತರ
share with you on while the class happens.
ಏನ್ ಯೋಚನೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೀವಿ ಅದಕ್ಕಿಂತ
We
ಚೆನ್ನಾಗಿದೆ.
kind of switch over to see what does the roadmap look like for the next 3 years on this approach of actually enabling eVidyaloka and an ecosystem hosted model and multiple players coming on board and
ನಿಮ್ ಸ್ಕೂಲಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವ್ದಾದ್ರು ಲಯನ್ ಇದೆಯಾ?
taking this to much broader and larger set of
ನೀವೆಲ್ಲ ಲಯನ್ ತರ ಇದ್ದೀರಾ?
students and enabling I would say 1 million of those volunteers. I truly believe it can, right? And the potential that exists in the building block approach is really going to unleash multiple use cases. While the volunteers is still a supply, I think multiple use cases as we are starting off with career guidance in Tamil Nadu, and then here regular classes in Kumta, with Venkatesh Murthy coming in, probably a few more classes is what's going to happen. Thanks, Nikita, for giving a sneak peek into an ongoing class. It's very, very exciting to see things in action. We believe in actually seeing this in action beyond PPT. So it's been a wonderful thing. So I'll take 2 more minutes to just share what's in store for us, and then I'll open up the floor for questions. And I would also invite Ravi, Alok, if you have a few thoughts to share to the rest of the group. And thanks for being with us today. Let me go and take that 2 minutes to share what's in store for us and the team that is driving it. And we will have the next 10-15 minutes to exchange thoughts and questions. Let me go back to the screen and share what we have. You're able to see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sure. So essentially, basically, are looking at, as we say, the roadmap is to build an NDA compliant, right? On top of what we have as Jupyter, right? Jupyter is helping us to bootstrap, run the initial set of schools, and by actually enabling it to be compliant with the larger national level digital policy, it really becomes truly available for a state level and multiple states kind of adoption. Especially it becomes data-wise secure, policy access restrictions, guidelines as per the government standards, right? And truly available for multiple stakeholders to consume and enable, right? So we essentially intend to build this block that's population scale ready, work with multiple governments and non-profit organizations and make it available for them, and enable their use cases on this abstracted model, and be ready to scale across all the 35 states and union territories of this country. To specific numbers, we're really looking at, to start with this year, a few schools pilot with at least 2 state governments and 3 to 5 NGOs, and scale it up to 2,500 volunteers next year, and then do a steep scale of 25,000 volunteers, demonstrating to be able to reach at least 5,000 schools and 5 lakh children at minimum. We see this as very conservative numbers, and while we have large number of players and especially government stakeholders are into the system, we have demand that is waiting, starving to learn, and we probably will be in a position to enable more and more people to participate. We truly believe we can reach at least 30 to 50 million in the next 3 to 7 years time frame post, and see this country very actively, vibrantly participating as a civil society, helping children learn and beyond learn. And as Jagdish mentioned, the opportunity is also to look having a global perspective of these initiatives. XStep is already talking with Sri Lankan government and Indonesian government for usage, and that's the potential that exists today. And we will kind of work the next 3 years to demonstrate this model of functioning, and that's what we have in store for us. We're bootstrapping, also using this opportunity to introduce the team who quickly kind of are assembling and hitting the road running. We have Kathy joining in to help work with the adopters and users and drive the adoption of the platform, starting with the TN government and the other existing users and the potential NGOs. Soumya has ramped up, picked up Jupyter technology and driving the development and engineering aspects of the building block, which is now will be named as Sunbird Serve, and will be soon a registered digital public good. And Nikita will continue to drive the product management, work with the different users, and define and close loop closely with the users going forward on the various use cases. And of course, we have more to come to join as we have more stakeholders join, both in terms of funders and as well as adopters in the journey. Right? Very, very excited, and can't be more happier to see this take shape or crystallize what I call very enigmatic various multiple threads of efforts converging into an actionable program with decent amount of resources available to make it happen. More importantly, so thrilled to have so many stakeholders today we are getting to join to and make it happen. I don't see any reason why we will not be able to make it work and realize the vision and purpose that we have set out for. So I'll pause here and stop here for discussions, questions to all our guests here. And Ravi would love to hear a few thoughts from you, and Alok, if you want to share, add more, floor is open for a discussion.
Thank you, Venkat. It's an absolute pleasure to see the Sunbird Serve version in action in a class being conducted live. And I'd like to thank Jagdish and also the BEO from Kumta, Alok, and all of you to be with us on this very momentous occasion. Thanks, Venkat, and thank you, Nikita, for and the whole team. Should say the whole team. This is a huge step for us, and I think that this will take volunteering to the absolute next level. And over a period of time, I believe that truly we would have got education across, learning across to all the remote parts of our country, and hopefully the generations that follow will all be proud contributors to the global economy. And we'll be proud to say that no one depends on any kind of dole or freebie from this from the government. And I think that is something that we are creating for the future. So thank you all for being part of this thing. And we thank Step for giving us this opportunity to be part of Sunbird. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ravi. Pleasure to kind of have, and it's always exciting. And remember the last Dashera and the previous ones, we always have kind of getting to do something that allows us to broaden our vision and reach. Yeah. I'll kind of look forward, kind of folks, people go ahead, unmute and ask questions. You're not moderated, ask what you have to anyone in this group here. I have the first question from CK to Jagdish. What prompted it name it as Sunbird?
Yeah. Before that, Alok, you want to add anything?
No, please. No, I mean, I just want to basically say, welcome to eVidyaloka team and partners. I think I would also acknowledge, the kind of energy we have seen, and I think I will echo very strongly what we heard from Venkatesh, that the focus on cause is very infectious, and we welcome all of you to be part of Sunbird community. And I'm very confident that this is not going to only accelerate the volunteering, but some of the other pieces, because I would like to see this same energy in getting passed on to other members in the Sunbird community, and I'm sure that will happen. At the same time, I look forward to, with this effort, not only eVidyaloka activating, but I think many partners of eVidyaloka activating, I think the work which you guys are focusing to enable a building block, I believe has a huge potential to activate many more organizations, be it program, like Youth for Seva we heard, or teams who will take multiple solutions to go with a larger cost. So welcome everyone.
Amazing. Yeah.
Thank you, Alok.
So Alok and Suren, who's on this call, are the community members of Sunbird who will partner with Nikita, Soumya, and Kathy to kind of, amplify this. So coming back into the story of why Sunbird, listen, actually Sunbird is a open source community, right? We have to create somewhere with a name, right? For the idea. The honor was mine to find a name, and especially in the middle of whatever was going on with Government of India requesting us to quickly come up with some names, not some names, the platform to come alive. And so Sunbird is a bird that feeds on the nectar. Right? It doesn't feed on insects, it feeds on the nectar. If you see hummingbird in National Geographic and all, the one that keeps fluttering its wings and kind of has a long beak, it kind of goes into the nectar space of the flower, sucks out the nectar. So it's the nectar space of birds. In birds, it's a nectar bird, if you will, right? The second part of the sunbird is it's a very small bird. But one of the very important players in the pollination space, sunbird. The third part of it is that it's present mostly in all developing countries. Most of them around equator, below equator. In South America, the Brazil space, the entire Amazon basin side, and parts of Africa, in India, and Java Islands, Indonesia, and all sorts of places. So it's a widespread bird. But the beauty is this: it's not, Sunbird is a family name. It's not a bird name, right? It's a family name. So in each country, it's called something else. Each species is called something else. So as you would realize, Diksha is a sunbird family, but whatever Government of India wanted to call it, right? Whatever Indonesia would want to call it, whatever agri platform folks want to call it. So imagine, different countries taking up these building blocks, CoWIN taking registries and calling it CoWIN in India, but 6 other countries calling whatever they wanted to call it. And so each one of them would call it in its own name. It's widespread. And that's the larger idea of the sunbird family. Anyway, if you notice, the open source spaces is full of animals and birds, right? It's a zoo type of thing. So we needed to kind of come up with the name of a bird, and we came up with Sunbird. Actually, what I find it inspiring is this. What inspired me in the last 2 days was this, that Nikita gang were all looking at the name. I want to kind of get Suren on board if he is available on call. Yeah, I don't see him on camera.
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, not on the camera.
Okay, no problem. Sunbird Serve, that idea serve. See, I know you can call it many number of things. That serve business, no? I was part of that conversation where multiple names were iterated and all of that. I request Suren to kind of come in, both talk about his, why was this serve business? And second is, he's also been part of this journey. Suren, what do you, for a few words?
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, the idea behind Sunbird Serve, which is, one of the many birds in the Sunbird family, was that it captures the essence of service, service to the community, service to the society, service for the sake of, empowerment and development of the society. And that whole essence of, volunteering is to serve. And in Indian terms, we use the word seva, or sometimes we say, karm dan and whatever other sort of words that are there in Indian sort of culture. So that serve as a global DPG, because all Sunbird building blocks are also digital public goods used across countries, and hence Serve captured that essence very well. And it was also easy flowing, easy to say, easy to remember. Wasn't a very tricky name to go after. So we felt Serve captures that, and hence yeah, everybody agreed to that. And I just want to add that working with Venkat, Soumya, Nikita, and others have been truly inspiring, as many of people reflected earlier. They are really committed to the cause and in it since a long time. So it's inspiring to see such committed folks. And I welcome each one of you, whether you are a policymaker, program person, a government official, or a product manager, or a developer, or anybody else, to come and join the Sunbird Serve community. Sunbird Serve will now be built and operated as a completely open source, community driven initiative. So in itself is like a volunteering for the volunteering building block, right? So come join the community and help make us Sunbird Serve better is the invitation to everyone. Thanks.
Excellent. Thanks, Suren. So Alok, I think respond to the next question. Look, if you can share it, what is a community Sunbird community mix? Was the other question. Alok, do you want to?
Yeah, I can. I can briefly mention. I respond to chat. So see, today we have an initial set of NGO organizations like Ekstep, now eVidyaloka, there is Shikshaloka, and then a set of private players. Some of them are coming as engineering partners. Some of them are coming as someone who's keen to take building blocks to instantiate and run solutions like Samagra, and then Avanti is also there as an NGO. So that's the initial thing, and all of these organizations came initially on the focus of Diksha, but now with multiple conversations which are going on, and I'm sure Jagdish can elaborate much more deeply. We are already having multiple conversations both on adoption, and as part of adoption, organizations even in the private sector interested to come in, not only adopt Sunbird building blocks but also contribute for sake of enabling multiple solutions commercially or non-commercially. So we envision in another 2 years or so it will be a healthy mix of organizations from private players, NGOs coming together, where a significant adoption happening across India and international, but at the same time, some of these organizations who are adopting will also contribute, because fundamentally there is an interconnect of, adopter wants to see the value growing for their own sake as well. So that's a mix we are anticipating, and hopefully a fairly healthy mix of both, if I use the word Samaj and Bazaar, coming actively on the community.
Thanks, Alok. Yeah. Janta, generally on Sunbird and any specific Sunbird Serve, right? Sunbird Serve and then any roadmap plan that we have. Any questions? This is the time to have, and of course we can have a follow through our exchange in our Slack channels subsequently. But good time to hear any thoughts if you have, if not questions. Ravi, Kripa, I know Brinda had to drop. We have a question from Akshay. How is language accessibility enabled on Sunbird?
You're basically, I'm assuming when you say language accessibility, you're talking about multi-language or
yeah, I think it's referring to the vernacular Indian languages.
Okay. Yeah, so see, if you look at Diksha as an example, which is using one of the building blocks of Sunbird, we already have 35 plus different Indian languages content being already enabled as a demonstration of the capability. So underlying architecturally, it is built keeping in mind the need to enable multiple language support as a fundamental principle, of the architecture of the Sunbird building block. So that goes, as a fundamental principle, and Diksha has already demonstrated that in terms of having content across 35 plus different languages, as you would of course know, right? Every state has a very distinct need of different languages, so that's a critical piece which is part of the design.
Yeah, I think, see, one of the benefits, that's what I mean, we will kind of start realizing once we get a handle on the other ecosystem within the Sunbird, there are capabilities that while kind of implementing Serve or this volunteering block, we may be able to leverage many of them now once we get the core in place, actually, right? So I think that will be the beauty of this ecosystem approach on it, actually. And probably building software is the most expensive affair, right? And it will be really foolish to keep reinventing and building when the cost is same. And kind of, I really kind of excited about some of the things, like there are other capabilities other than language, like Saral, and which provides this scan part. You have the text to speech, which is already adopted, I mean, significantly in real time scenarios. And I'm keen to also get this video call thing done, actually. I think the Big Blue, somebody is, I think, doing it. So I think once we get the in-house video call, I look forward to that name as well, actually, right? So coming in and which really make it truly an indigenous, made in India scalable for the world, actually, right? Look forward for that.
Yeah, I think for a larger audience, I'll just say two things. Sorry, Jagdish, you want to add?
Well, I just wanted to kind of bring in AI into this game, right? The AI language capabilities is something that Sunbird community is deeply invested in. Recently, there was an investment into AI for Bharat Center at IIT Madras, IIT Chennai. One of the tools, he talked about video translation, Venkat. So I just remembered that, live transcription of Indian videos into Indian languages is a capability that already exists. And very soon you will see. What excites me as one of the goals that I'm going after is language accessibility for those who do not know English, at par with those who know English, to make internet from consumption economy to interaction economy, if you will, for the next billion people. Leveraging language and breaking the barriers of language is one of the big initiatives in the larger Sunbird community.
Yeah, and I think, Jagdish, that for different Indian language, I think that's the biggest crack, right, which the industry hasn't solved yet.
Thanks, Alok. Thanks, Jagdish. Any other thoughts, questions, folks? We're 7 minutes out, but one last we can take and then wrap for the day today.
Just one question, Venkat. But does this Sunbird platform, does this facilitate even for those with specially able speech and hearing impaired and others also, are is it inclusive?
Very important question, Ravi. Yes, so that's an ongoing process of work that, as part of different building blocks, how do we make sure the technology and the platform which gets instantiated using Sunbird building block is also accessible from the diversity of the user base. So that work is in progress, and in fact we are leveraging our experience from Diksha, which is NCRT's platform, to learn, because this is one of the challenges which as you start using it, user input and feedback is very critical. But that's an active strand of work which is being done, and it is also helping the Diksha's engagement, also helping us to address some of these needs in Sunbird fundamental building blocks.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.
Just to add, Ravi, so NCRT has launched an accessibility initiative leveraging Sunbird. There's an accessibility corner that NCRT has launched very recently. I'll dig out the URL and share it with Venkat. Yeah, and I think I have your email ID as well, so I'll thank you on that.
Sure. Thanks, Javi.
Thanks.
Any other questions, thoughts, folks? Gayatri, Krupa, Anu, Prithvi? I see Kamesh joining as well. Thanks, Kamesh. Good to see you here today. Welcome.
Thanks, Venkat. Wonderful for the launch. Joining the launch was very wonderful.
Yeah, so Kamesh, just for others, Kamesh is one of the product manager, and he's also one of the volunteers on eVidyaloka. So he has, he has seen both ads.
Correct.
He belongs to the bride and the bridegroom side.
Correct. Okay, excellent. So with that, let's call it a wrap now on this session. I mean, I'm so very happy to kind of every stakeholder of this ecosystem being represented here today, right? And eVidyaloka is privileged to be having uniquely in this place to kind of work together collectively along with these people beyond our own boundaries of the organization. And we always believe that we can achieve, we must achieve actually collectively. And that brings the joy in the whole journey in itself, actually, right? That's kind of keeps us going every day. We are super excited to unleash the opportunity that is there in front of us, right? And on this auspicious day, really thrilled to see this in action, in fruition. And I think soon by next Vijayadashmi, we should have the next milestone that we kind of have charted off ourselves. I'd love to see few schools and states and organizations share this joy and then take this to the next orbit from here. Yeah. So thanks a lot. And once again, happy Dussehra to all. And thanks for taking out an hour on this holiday as well. Appreciate each one of you taking this time. As you said, more questions on specifics on how, what, etc. We'll continue on our Slack channels. Yeah. Thank you so much, folks. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you and best wishes.
Yeah, thank you, Rajendra ji. Thank you, Jayashree ji, for all of you joining today. Bye.
Yeah.